Diane says, my husband and I are starting to prepare for downsizing into a senior living community. It's easier for me than it is for him. We have 3 or 4 years to go, but so much to do. So my question is, what happens? Because this happens all the time. I get this question 10 times a day. What happens when I myself am prepared to downsize and my husband is a pack rat and he's not? What
Oh,
then?
oh, so true. And it's just that. It's making sure that he feels safe. Don't give away anything you don't need to before you need to. More importantly, so don't talk about what needs to go because that editing is hard. Rather, and one of the things that I do is I share this tool. I call it the obligation Richter scale based on where it came from. And it was my late husband was very logic minded. And so I would say things, but he wouldn't pick up my nuance. And so it said, look, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is a level 5 priority. It's not that big of a deal. You can come or not. Either way is fine. If it were priority 7, then I'd love for you to come, but it's not the end of the world. If it's a level 10, you need to show up. So rather than focusing on what your husband is going to have to let go of, let's focus on what is so valuable and so important to him. That's what should come with.
Mhm.
So rather than talking about what needs to be, what he has to let go of, because that's a sense of insecurity and we want him to feel safe and secure, let's talk about what he prizes and values and prioritizes the most so that when you are in your senior living home together, you feel at home and you feel like you've edited to the best of the juiciest, most beautiful moments that are up on the wall and the trinkets along the way, that those are the ones that you need. And the rest are photos in an album or just digital. You could have one digital frame with all of the other stuff. And those are valuable because it will trigger the memory of your adventures in life together in the home that you share together. Because sometimes moving to a senior center means you don't have those natural organic triggers that people will say, oh, I miss my spouse. They've passed. I can't leave the house. He's here.
Mhm.
No, he's not there. I can say this as a widow. He's in your heart. What
Mhm.
is there is the trigger reminder that, oh, this was the wall where we put the kids' ages as they grew. You know what? Take that piece of wood and put it in the senior center if that's so important to you. It's a level 10, bring it or reproduce it somewhere.
I
So
love that concept, and I want to highlight this. I don't want you guys to let that slip by without you
you're so good.
bookmarking this in your memory. Okay, this is super important. What I just heard Michelle say is revolutionary, and I want you guys to hang on to it. She said, don't focus on what you have to get rid of. Focus on what is a number 7, 8, 9, 10 for you to keep. And if you were to go through all of your stuff that way and not say, I've got to get rid of this and be sad about getting rid of it, what is a number 10 to me? What is it that I want to keep? Because even if it's something that sparks joy, I got a lot of crap that sparks joy, a lot in the house. And I look at it, I'm like, yes, that makes my heart sing. Am I ever going to use it again? No. But when I look at it, I dance with joy, right? It's not useful, but on a scale of 1 to 10, and if I were going to downsize and cut my space down into a tiny size, would I take it with me? The answer is no, I would not. But boy, do I love it, right? And so on a scale of 1 to 10, it might really only be a 3, but a super happy 3. And when you're really honest about how important is it to keep, there's a lot of stuff in our lives that's not even utility. It's not something that we're using. It's not something we'll probably ever use again at one point in time. And then as I look at all my free time that I really don't have, but as I look at my free time, what am I doing? Am I sitting down at my sewing machine and sewing? I am not. I'm not. I'm now writing books and I'm spending my time doing things on the internet and on the computer now. I'm not sitting at the sewing machine. It was a 10 to me at one time, but it is not any longer. And so as we start to downsize and let go of things in our lives, instead of focusing on, I got to get rid of this, it's what is no longer an 8, 9, or a 10 to me. And then saying, wow, I loved that moment of my life, but that moment of my life is gone. Just like a child grows up and moves out of your life, you don't love them any less. It doesn't negate the time you spent together. It just means it served its purpose. You had that time together. It's moved on, and that's the natural ebb and flow of stuff, right? Me getting rid of a sewing machine is the natural ebb and flow. If I need something tailored, I'm most likely going to pay somebody to tailor it for me now. I'm not going to sit down at the sewing machine anymore. I've moved on from that moment of my life. And I love this concept. Rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. I love that because even a spouse who's like, I don't want to get rid of anything, they can certainly go, well, it's a 7 or it's a 5 or it's a 3, or you can kind of let go of it.
And then once you've labeled everything, then, really we can only afford to bring the 9 tens.
Um,
So it will help you clear the clutter.